In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 very common mistakes that people make when writing prompts for ChatGPT. And I'm also going to share with you how to fix them to get better results from AI. If you're new here, I'm Aga. I have worked in tech for more than 15 years and I also run my own online education business with more than 1.5 million followers across social media. Okay, let's get started. So the first mistake that people make when writing prompts for ChatGPT or other AI tools is asking for everything at once. Like this: write me a complete business plan for a coffee shop, including financial forecasts, marketing strategy, menu ideas, and a press release for the opening. This is a bad prompt because you've put too many requests into a single prompt. So ChatGPT now has to juggle multiple conflicting instructions. So it spreads itself too thin, trying to cover everything at once. And so this can lead to generic and shallow content. So how do you fix it? You break it down. There are 2 main ways to do this, and there might be something that you're already doing to fix this problem. If so, then make sure you leave me a comment. But here's a very simple way to do this. Start broad and then zoom in. Make sure you go to the video description and sign up for my free weekly newsletter where I share practical tips on how you can use AI to make your work and your life easier. You start with a very simple and broad prompt, like give me an outline of a business plan for a coffee shop. So you run that through ChatGPT and then you refine the outline that you get. You then take that refined outline and put it back into ChatGPT and zoom in. So for example, you can then ask it to focus specifically on the marketing strategy section. So you can say something like, now give me an outline of a social media strategy for the coffee shop. Then you run that through ChatGPT and again you refine the output that you get. So you can zoom in a lot more. For example, you can ask it to create specific Instagram posts that align to the social media strategy. When I talk about this method, I think about iterative design. For example, you don't just come up with a motorbike overnight. First, there's a bike. Then, if you want to make it go faster, you add an engine. If you want to make it safer or more sturdy, you add some modifications. So you iterate on the design. And it's the same when using ChatGPT or other AI tools. You ask it the first prompt, you get something, you refine it, you put it back in, and then you can keep refining it until you get to the result that you like. The second method for doing the same thing is including all the different little instructions, but labeling them or ordering them clearly. So instead of dumping everything into one sentence, you can write a numbered list with steps for ChatGPT to complete. I personally prefer the first method because you can make refinements throughout the process. The second mistake that many people make when writing prompts for ChatGPT is not giving it examples. Here's a bad prompt. Write a funny tweet about mornings. The problem with this prompt is that the AI's idea of funny might be very different to yours. So how do you fix it? You give it examples. Like this. Here are 2 tweets I like. Coffee, the most important meal of the day. Morning person, I thought that was a myth. Now write 5 original tweets in this same short, sarcastic style. So you've given ChatGPT examples of what you need before you even gave it instructions. And this is just a micro example because you can feed ChatGPT significantly longer examples, such as whole articles or reports, to clarify the kind of thing that you're really looking for. Another tip I want to share with you is that you can also use negative examples, which means you can tell it what you don't want. Write a funny tweet about Mondays. Don't make it a cliche, like I hate Mondays. Instead, keep it witty and surprising. So you can think of prompting like you're teaching someone something. If you give them a giant project without showing them any examples of what it should look like, they'll get lost. They'll come back with something completely random. But if you guide them step by step and show them examples of what you're looking for, they will give you exactly what you need. And mistake number 3, forgetting to give enough context. For example, you could ask ChatGPT to explain photosynthesis, but that's not a great prompt because it doesn't offer any context. It doesn't say who this explanation is for or how you want it framed. So you'll probably get something that is either too technical, too difficult to understand, or maybe too basic, or just not in the right style. And this happens because the AI doesn't have any way to know your audience, your goal, or your constraints unless you spell them out. So you can fix this mistake by saying something like, explain photosynthesis like I'm 10 years old. So simply adding the age or the phrase for a beginner or for an expert can completely change the quality of the output. It's also useful to specify the format or the scenario as part of the context. Instead of just saying explain, you can say something like explain in a blog post, or explain in a text message, or explain in a classroom setting. And finally, tell ChatGPT the purpose of the content that you're trying to create. How are you going to use the answer? What is it for? For example, I'm doing a presentation to a group of 12-year-olds about photosynthesis. Give me a script for the presentation covering 3 lesser-known facts about it using simple language and a conversational tone. Following the presentation, the 12-year-olds will be asked to make a painting that metaphorically represents one of these facts. So bear this in mind when designing the script. So I've told it exactly how I'm going to use the answer, what the content is for, and so the output will be a lot more tailored. If this video helped you, make sure you leave me a comment and don't forget to go to the video description and sign up for my free weekly newsletter where I share super practical tips on how to use AI at work and in your everyday life. And I'll see you next time. Bye!